lovely friends, it's Margaret, and today we are going to be talking about what I am reading in February. So February, if you will remember, last year I did 2 whole readathons during the whole month of February and said that that was a terrible idea and I was never doing it again, and then proceeded to do like 3 readathons a month for like 2 other months after that. Point is, I am once again doing those exact same 2 readathons. I am doing blackathon and Valentines. I will have the links down below for all of that, like the announcements and all of the good stuff. Both of them have ways you can participate with Twitter, with Instagram, with BookTube, all of that linked down below. We're here to talk about what I am reading. I did smarter things this time. Smarterness. Smarterness? That's not a word, Margaret. Oh my god. But I was very intentional, and there's a lot of overlap, and I actually picked out what I was going, like, I picked out a specific, like, path that I was going to do instead of trying to do all 25. We're not going to, we might to see if we can get, like, another cross through that path, but, like, we're just going for one bingo right now. So, it's going to be a ride over February. If you are interested in seeing that ride, I am vlogging the entire experience, so make sure that you hit that subscribe button if you are interested to see how I do, and whether or not I can once again read 20 books in 1 month, because, I mean, why not try? But before we get into what I'm actually reading for these 2 readathons, we do need to talk about what I'm carrying over from January, because I'm still reading it. The first one that we need to talk about is one that was on my TBR for January that I didn't finish because I had other priorities that came up book-wise. The wrap-up for that is not up yet, but I did get to most of the books on my TBR. So that is A Memory Called Empire by Arkady Martine. When I picked this up, I wasn't even sure if I wanted to read it. I'm very glad I gave this a second chance, because when I finished it the first time was right after Blackathon last year, and I had just read the 5th season, and it was feeling a lot like this author was trying to copy the 5th season with a lot of their prose and stuff. Now that we've had like a year to get away from all of that, I'm like, oh, okay. It was just this very beginning portion, like this one sentence that reminded me of the 5th season, and so it was prejudicing me against the rest of the entire book. So I'm actually enjoying this. I'm, what, 100? I have just reached the 100-page mark. It is a dense read. It is taking more time. The next one we are going to talk about is A Glory Happening by Caitlin B. Curtis. This is basically just a series of thoughts that have been gathered by a Native American Christian. She's examining the idea of glory in the everyday and trying to find it in the everyday. And so I am buddy reading this with Kara from Wild Book Garden. We started it because I was just waiting for her to get her copy, and we were both interested in this book, so we decided that we were gonna go ahead and like kind of do a little buddy read with it. We're going through 1 section a week, so you're gonna be seeing this probably in another TBR, because we're trying to take this slow. And then the final one that I am in the middle of is A Death Note Volume 2 in the Black Edition. The story is by Tsugumi Oba and the art is by Takeshi Obata. This is interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about the series yet, but I'm giving it at least this one more like time doing it with the Manga Monday Book Club, like this one more time, these next 2 volumes. If I don't like it when we're done with this one, I probably will not finish Death Note. However, I also need answers, so even if I don't like it, I may still end up finishing Death Note. Who knows? Okay? I don't. Oh, there's one more book that we need to talk about. I also ended up picking up On the Come Up by Angie Thomas as an audiobook, and then the audiobook expired. And I thought I had one more day, but I didn't have one more day. And so I was really enjoying this, and I love the fact that Bree's mom is going to bat for her the way that she is, like at the beginning of this book. Absolutely adore that, because I feel like most of the time in contemporary fiction, if the daughter is getting in trouble, the parents are not on her side, and Bree's mom is on her side because she knows what's up. I will be continuing this when I get the audiobook back. I have to wait for the person who was after me to finish it. So I literally had like 2 hours left. But I miscalculated and thought I had an extra day on Overdrive, and I did not. Getting into what I am actually going to be reading in February, all of the ones that I am starting over. If you want to know if the TBR jar is going to be making a comeback like I promised it would in my 2020 goals video, it will be making a comeback. It will. We've put some room in our TBR for that. Now that I realize that I have 4 books that I need to finish, not so sure if that was a wise idea. Maybe I should put more room in the TBR for that. But we're going to start off with what I am reading for Blackathon. I am going with Team Contemporaries. I can't say that word. I have books to try and hit Team Sci-Fi, especially since I want to get to the Obelisk Gate if I can this month, because it is time. It is time. I read the 5th season last year. It is time for me to finish reading the series. Anyways, it's also time for me to read some Nnedi Okorafor. But we are focusing on contemporary / lit because that is what I don't read a lot of, or I read less of that. Does that make sense? So the first prompt is Bazi Ikpi, and that is to read a book that has a black protagonist, but also it looks at like either physical disability or mental illness. And so for that, I am reading Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. Chloe Brown is chronically ill, and she has a near-death experience, from what I understand, and makes a list. And her list is enjoy a drunken night out, ride a motorcycle, go camping, have meaninglessly but thoroughly enjoyable sex, travel the world with nothing but hand luggage, what? And do something bad. And so she is, because she's chronically ill, she's been living with her parents, but she's just now moved out on her own, and she enlists the guy who's like the superintendent of her building to help her fix, to do this list that she has, and there might be some sparks that to fly. Well, I mean, it's a romance book, and you can literally see them on the cover, so I guess that answers the question of whether or not there will be sparks flying. Oh, I like that tagline, love wasn't on her to-do list. The next prompt is Marlon James, and that is to read a book with a black protagonist that is not focused on the American black experience. For that, I will be reading Let's Go Swimming on Doomsday by Natalie C. Anderson. I saw this on Jessie from Bowties and Books channel, a really recent wrap-up that they did, and immediately, like, they were discussing the plot and everything, and like, obviously, me being me, I was like, oh, this sounds interesting. It landed on my TBR. Anyways, it seemed perfect for this prompt. It's about Abdi. Yes, it's about Abdi, and his older brother was kidnapped a few years ago by this militant group. However, people have been coming back and saying that his brother is actually now working with this militant group, so he's approached by the people in his government. I'm not entirely sure. Basically, he's approached to try and help take down this government group by reconnecting with his brother in some way, from what I understand. I'm not entirely sure where it takes place, because I don't think the name of the country is mentioned. He's from Somalia in Africa, so that answers that. It's all the way at the bottom. It's not mentioned in any of like the major part of the blurb. Anyways, the way Jessie was talking about this, I think it was in their favorites of the year video. I wrote down like 6 different books to read from that video. I will link it down below if I can find it, if that is in fact the video, but the way they were talking about it just really made me interested in this story. It sounded good. It's also very relevant to stuff that is happening in other parts of the world, and I want to be reading things about what's going on in other parts of the world. I feel like fiction is often a great place to start doing research. The next prompt is Alexa Martin, and that is to read a book that is lighthearted and not focused on the oppression of black people. For that, I am going to be reading Royal Wedding by Jasmine Guillory. I love Jasmine Guillory. She writes romances that make me happy, and I love her protagonists. And so this, I believe, is about one of the characters' mother. Pretty sure it is the mother of the female lead of the last book. Cannot be 100% sure on that because I'm terrible at, like, names when they are not the main characters. I can barely remember the main characters' names half the time. Anyways, so this is just basically about one of these characters' moms. They go on a vacation to England and they meet a lovely man there and possibly fall in love. Well, I mean, why am I saying possibly? It's a romance book with 2 people about to kiss on the cover. No one is fooled by these things. Like, there's a reason you read romance, guys. Anyways, so I just have loved everything that I have read by Jasmine Guillory. So the final prompt for the Team Lit is Akweke Emezi, and that is to read a book with a black revolutionary character. I will be reading Slay by Brittany Morris. I have been hearing amazing things about this book. From what I understand, this is about Kiara, and she has created this game that's kind of like a haven for black people. It is a place where they can go and they can play an online game without having to worry about being harassed. She has created this game, and unfortunately, something happens. There's a death that is connected to this game, and so now people are saying that it's racist for this game to be this safe haven for black kids to be able to just be themselves. I've heard nothing but good things from this. Okay, I've heard one bad thing, but that's a world-building thing and not a story thing. So getting into the prompt for Valentine's, you have this fantastic bingo board that Kate over at Chapter Kate has created. So the first prompt that we need to hit is first date, and that is to read an author's debut. I am going to be reading Empire of Sand by Tasha Shuri. I have been hearing wonderful things about this. There is a forced marriage in this kind of thing where, like, they're both not happy about the fact that they're married to each other, so there's that. There is a forbidden magic in here. She basically gets discovered using this forbidden magic, and she has to marry somebody who's very powerful, who either needs her or can protect her or something like that. The next prompt is Sharing is Caring, and for that you need to read any book that is on another readathon. Obviously, I can use any of the books that I'm reading for blackathon to do this prompt. The middle space is just to post about your favorite book on Twitter or Instagram, or basically like what I do in my daily life is I'm already doing what I need to do to fill this prompt. The next one is More to Love, and that is to read a book that is 400 pages or more. For that, I'm going to be crossing over with my blackathon TBR and reading Let's Go Swimming on Doomsday by Natalie Steve Parker. It is 450 pages, including the acknowledgments, which I will probably read because I do weird stuff like that. The final prompt I'm going to be doing is Commitment Issues, and that is to continue on with the series. For that one, I am going to be reading Before the Devil Breaks You by Libba Bray. This is the third book in the Diviners series. I am doing the Diviners read-along. They finally got where I wanted them to be at the end of Lair of Dreams, I think is the name of the book. And then the book ended. So now I have to know what happens with these two. Because I just do. I do. The romance is driving me absolutely bonkers. If you don't know what the Diviners series is, it's about like these supernatural murders that keep happening, along with the fact that we have these kids with superpowers that are popping up and able to do things. The main character of the first book, Evie O'Neill, can touch things and see things about the person who owned them, and she ends up getting drawn into the murder infestation that way. It is a very layered, like multi-POV, multiple storylines going on at once series, and the way Libba Bray has been taking all of these separate storylines and connecting them. I just don't know how to do that. Would like to learn how to do that, but it makes for really good reading. Those are the books that I'm going to be reading for Valentine's and Blackathon, and now, where are you? There you are. Now it's time for this guy. All right, so each of these is a paper that means something. I don't remember what any of these colors mean except for the yellow. The yellow means that it is on my physical TBR, which I'm trying to get down, so I need to pick 2 of those. Hopefully one of those will also be a book box book. And then I have Scribd, Overdrive, and books that I can find at my library. I'm pretty sure one of the pinks is books that I can find at my library. There's a darker pink and a lighter pink. You probably cannot tell from here. But anyways, I have all of these books, so we're gonna just, so I need to do 2 from my physical TBR. Actually, no, I want to read, there's a book up there that I know I want to, no, we're gonna do 2 from the physical TBR. Do I? I know I have one that I want to read, so we're gonna do 1 from my physical TBR, and we're gonna do 1 from, I think, maybe it's not that one. Maybe the blue? Maybe the blue. We'll do yellow and blue today. Do I look like I know what I'm doing? The blue ones, I have these written down on the back. This says I need to read. Okay, so this is either library or Overdrive. I need to read Looking for Alaska by John Green. That is the only John Green book that is published that I have not yet read. And then the one that I am reading from my physical TBR, oh, please be a good book, please be a good book. I'm gonna laugh if this is one of the ones that I wanted it to be, and then I'll have to pick another book, but it's probably not, it looks. Because You Love to Hate Me. It's an anthology by a whole bunch of different authors, that is just, I think, villain origin stories. Alright, I bet I can probably find that one on Scribd, honestly, so we're gonna do one more. One more from my physical TV, yep. This is, I can see part of it. It's a hero's book, so that means I will be reading, oh boy, I need my step stool. So we are adding these 2 to the TBR. This is set in a world where we have traveled to another planet and somehow gained magical powers, and you have 2 different types of magic. You have the shield and you have the sources. Sources are able to stop natural disasters, but they die in the process of stopping them usually. And then the advent of shields came, and shields, I mean, like, these are ridiculous natural disasters. Think like 5th season natural disasters. Anyways, so they've discovered that there are certain people that can shield these sources as they're doing their thing, and they will be able to not die while doing their thing. So there we go. Those are all the books that I am going to be trying to read in February. Trying being the key word. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and also hit that subscribe button if you are new here. That is it for now, my friends. Happy reading, and I will see you later when we will talk about more wordy, nerdy things. Bye!